Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a crochet coaster in the round. It's a fun, quick crochet pattern that's perfect to add to your coffee table. The free written pattern can be found on my website at julesandjones.com, and you can find a link for that in the description box below. Let's get started. Some of the materials that you're going to need to make this pattern is you are just going to need one skein of a number 4 worsted weight yarn. Now in the pattern I used WeCrochet Dishie yarn, which is 100% cotton based yarn, and you're only going to need about 20 yards for one coaster. So for WeCrochet Dishie yarn you will get about 190 yards, so you can make quite a few coasters using just one skein. And for the tutorial, I am just using the color Inlet, which is this really pretty light blue color. So once you have your yarn figured out, you are then going to need your crochet hook, and you are going to need a size 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, which is the letter I. Okay, and then you're also just going to need a pair of scissors towards the end of your work, and then just a darning needle to work in your ends. And that's it. So let's go ahead and get started with our tutorial. Our first step in making this crochet coaster is to make the inner part. So the inner part is right here, and it's made of double crochets and chains. Let's go ahead and start with that. So go ahead and grab your yarn, and we are going to make a magic circle. Now if you don't prefer to make magic circles for your projects, or you just don't like to make them, you can also start off by making a chain of 4 and then slip stitching to the first chain. Okay, I really like to make magic circles because I think they look really neat, so that's what I'm going to be doing for this tutorial. So for a magic circle, what you're going to do is this. You're going to take the tail end of your yarn and you're going to place it going downwards on 2 fingers, just like this. Okay, and then we're going to wrap the yarn around our 2 fingers, and then we're going to cross it over in the back, wrap it around again, and then place it in the middle, and then hold that part with your thumb. Now we're going to move our 2 fingers to the front, and now you're going to go underneath the first strand, over the second one. You're going to pull it and twist, and then you're going to go underneath that second one again, and then you're going to pull it through that loop. And that is how you make a magic circle. And then I just like to take the tail end out just like this, and the tail end is where you close your magic circle with. So I can actually go like this, and my magic circle would close. Okay, so our next step, because we're working on this inner part right here, is to chain 4. Now I like to count this first chain as 1. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and so this chain right here, these 4 chains, counts as 1 double crochet and chain, and we need to make 15 more of those for a total of 16. All right, so we are just going to yarn over for a double crochet, insert our hook into that magic loop, and then pull it up, and then yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and then we're going to chain 1. Okay, and so that is the sequence. So now I have 2 double crochets, because remember, this first one counts as a double crochet. So let's go ahead and do another one. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, pull it up, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and then chain 1. And that is the sequence until you have 16 total. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to do that until I have 16. All right, so here I have 16 double crochets and chains, and so now it is time to close our first round. So you are going to close it by making a slip stitch to the top chains. That is the chain that we made in the beginning. Okay, so here's my chain. I like to put it through 2 loops so it's a little bit more stable. And then I'm simply going to yarn over, pull through, and then pull through 1 more time. And there we go. That completes round 1. And I'm just going to fan it out a little bit. And then if you need to close this up a bit more, you just want to pull that tail end. Okay, so now our first round is done. So now we're going to work on our second round. So our second round looks like this, and these are made up of puff stitches. Okay, and so a puff stitch is simply where you pull up the yarn, and you can pull it up however many times you want. For this tutorial, we are going to have 7 loops in total. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Okay, so for this part, you are going to chain 3. And now we're going to insert our hook in the space between the chain that we made from the previous row and the double crochet afterwards. So if you take your little circle and just push these 2 stitches apart, that's the space. So for this part, you're just going to yarn over, going to insert your hook in that space, yarn over, and then pull up a loop. And you want the loop to be about the length of your chain, just so that everything is even. Okay, so I have 3 loops on my hook. So let's do it again. Yarn over, insert your hook into that same space, yarn over and pull up a loop. You should have 5 loops on your hook. One more time, yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over and pull through. So now you should have 7 loops. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 7 loops, and then yarn over once more to close that puff stitch. And you should have something that looks like this. So now what you're going to do is you are going to work one of these in every single space until you have 16 total. So let's go ahead and do another one together. Find our next space, which is right here. Now I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over one more time to work through all those loops, and then yarn over an additional time to close the puff stitch. And there you go. So that is my second one. Let's go ahead and do one more. Yarn over, insert our hook into the next space, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert my hook into the space, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert my hook into that space and pull up a loop. Now yarn over, pull through all 7 loops, and then yarn over to close it. And there we go. Okay, so just go ahead and continue to do that all the way around. Okay, so I have just finished working my second round, and so you should have 16 puff stitches, and so now we just need to slip stitch it, and then we are done with this round. So you can either slip stitch it to the chain that we made, but for even more seamless look, I like to slip stitch it in the next space. So it's the space after my first puff stitch that I made. So I would just insert my hook and then just make a slip stitch. There we go, for a more seamless look. Okay, so now we are off to round 3. So this is what round 3 is going to be. It's going to be this part right here. And so round 3 is made up of bobble stitches, which are just made up of uncompleted double crochets. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we are going to chain 3 again. So 1, 2, and 3. And now we are going to make a bobble stitch. So for a bobble stitch, you want to make it like this. So we're just going to yarn over for a double crochet. We're going to insert it into that same space where we made our slip stitch. And we are going to just pull up a loop and then yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. And that's it. Okay, so now we're going to do this 2 more times because we want a total of 4. And our chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. So yarn over, insert our hook into that same space, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So now I have 3 loops left on my hook. We're going to do it one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into that space, yarn over, pull through, okay, and then pull through those 2 loops. So now I have 4 uncompleted double crochets. And now we are just going to yarn over once more and pull through all 4 loops on our hook, and then chain 2, just like that. And now we've made our first bobble stitch. Okay, so you are going to do this all the way around for a total of 16. So let's go ahead and make another one. Yarn over, insert our hook into the next space, yarn over and pull through. So you're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. Okay, So yarn over, insert our hook, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops. So now we have 2, so we need to make 2 more, because remember, you want 4 total. And if you have to slide it over like I did, that's totally fine to give it some extra room. Yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. Now I've got 3 and I've got 4 loops on my hook. Yarn over, last time, pull through, then yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. And there you go. So now we're going to pull through all those loops on our hook. And then you're going to chain 2. And so that is how you make the bobble stitch. Okay, so just go ahead and continue to do that until you have 16 total. So I've just made my last bobble stitch, and so you should have something that looks like this. And so now all we need to do is just slip stitch it to the first bobble stitch, and then we are finished with round 3. So you can either slip stitch it to the 3rd chain or the space afterwards. So I'm going to do the space afterwards. So I'm just going to slip stitch it, and there we go. Okay, so that completes round 3. So now what we need to do is we have 2 more rounds left for this coaster. So now we are going to work a single crochet round. So that is this part right here. So we're going to work the single crochet round, okay? So for our single crochet round, we are going to chain 1. Now this part is optional, but you can add a stitch marker to this first chain just so you know where it starts and where it ends. Okay, so I'm just going to place it. Okay, so I've placed my stitch marker. So now what you're going to do is you're going to work 3 single crochets in this first space. So you're just going to push these stitches a little bit apart and make your single crochet. So to make a single crochet, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Then I like to scoop mine a bit, and now we're going to make 2 more. So I'm going to make another one within that space. And then for my next one, you can work it in that space or you can work it in this little spot right here. And there you go. Okay, so that's our first part of this row. So now for the second part, what you're going to do is you are going to work 4 single crochets in each space. And you are going to do this 13 times. So when we come to our last space, that's when we're going to work 3 single crochets again. So we're going to work 4 in each space 13 times. So to do this part, I like to work my single crochet in that top stitch of the bobble stitch. But like I said, if you can place 4 right in the space, that's totally fine as well. So I just like to work it into that top stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it should look like this. Okay, so just continue to do that until the last space. Okay, so I have just about finished my round, and so all I need to do is just make 3 more single crochets in that last space. So you should have something that looks like this. So I'm going to find my last space right here, and I'm going to work my 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3, and I'm back up my stitch marker. And so now to finish off the round, we are going to work a slip stitch in the back loop of the first single crochet that we made. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove my stitch marker, and I'm going to work it in right after that chain that we made. Okay, so that first single crochet, which is right here, that little V, and I'm going to place my hook in the back loop and then work a slip stitch. Okay, and then I'm simply going to take my stitch marker and then just place it into the stitch that we just made. Okay, and that completes this round. So now we have 1 more round left, which is this one, which is our final round, and we're going to work this beautiful round of slip stitches. Okay, so we are going to find our next stitch, which is our single crochet stitch, and you are going to work a slip stitch in the back loop of all your single crochet stitches. So once again, insert your hook into that back loop and make a slip stitch. Just like that. Okay, and you're going to do this all the way around. So I'm here towards my end, and so now we have to make one more slip stitch in the back loop, and that will be where our stitch marker is placed. So I'm going to go ahead and remove my stitch marker, work my last one in this back loop, and then I'm going to cut my yarn because now we are finished with this round. And then I'm just simply going to yarn over and pull through to create a knot. And there you go. And so now all you would have to do is just carefully work this tail end in as well as the tail end from this side, right? Because this is where we started. And that is it. So that is how you make this really fun little coaster. All right, everyone, I really hope you enjoyed making this crochet coaster pattern with me. It really is such a fun, quick pattern, and it's great if you have some leftover yarn scraps, since you only need about 20 yards per coaster, and even less if you were to do it in a different color for every round. I actually have another example of one that I made here, and so I used a little bit of a lighter color for my inner part, and then I did white puff stitches, and then I worked it in that pretty blue inlet color for my outer part of my coaster. But yeah, so you can always make this coaster in different colors. And then for my white set that I made right here, and I made 4 of these, I actually added a leather tag. So you can hang these up if you would like to. And I think it adds like a cute little touch to these coasters as well. So yeah, if you did enjoy this tutorial, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. It really helps the channel. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone.